Ahead on SportsCenter, an accident takes the life of one of racing's all-time greats.
Senna is dead, it's over, and it's a huge hole and a void in our sport.
The games continued in New York, but not for all the Knicks. A couple of little men battled like heavyweights in the stadium, and the mighty Casey had his day as hockey's second season hits the second round. All stories making news this Sunday, May 1st on SportsCenter. Hello and welcome to the Sunday Sports Center. I'm Gary Miller with you for an abbreviated version. All the baseballs in 20 minutes on baseball tonight. Then the Red Sox and Angels on our Sunday night game at the top of the hour. Before we get to the national pastime, though, the loss of an international figure who dwarfed all others in his sport. Formula One giant Ayrton Senna died Sunday in a crash at Imola, Italy, just one day after rookie Roland Ratzenberger was killed qualifying on the same course. Senna had been so shaken by Saturday's tragedy, he refused to qualify or discuss the incident, but he was on the pole for Sunday's race. Fittingly, Ayrton Senna was leading the race when he left the track for the final time. The native of Sao Paulo was second only to Pelé as a hero in his native Brazil, where they are mourning his death like that of a relative. But his daring on the track earned him an international following and notoriety, and the respect of his rivals, who often questioned his tactics, but never the results. Here is a sense of how Senna has dominated the Formula One circuit. He has 41 wins and 65 poles. The rest of the field in Italy had 20 wins and a dozen poles combined. His pole mark is an all-time record. He has 3 world titles. He was favored to win a 4th with the retirement of Nigel Mansell. Carl Ravitch brings us more on the Brazilian who was second only to Alain Prost in career wins.
Ayrton Senna first got behind the wheel of a car when he was 4 years old. His first competitive race came in a go-kart at the age of 13. He ended up in victory lane. With the same speed he drove with, Senna had made a name for himself.
I can remember a cold and wet day at Silverstone when Adrian Reynard came to me and said, "Have you seen this Ayrton de Silva," as he was called then? He said, "I've never seen a driver slide and screech 4 tires as well and as often as he does."
Senna did not race around a track, he attacked it. He enjoyed a level of confidence that bordered on cockiness. He lived on the edge, taking risks other drivers wouldn't, and he lived in fear. Once saying that to survive, you need to be afraid. It helps you race longer and live longer. At 34 years of age, Senna transcended his sport.
I mean, in places like South America, Japan in particular, France, Italy in particular, he's almost a godlike figure. I mean, in my opinion, he would be bigger on a global level than a Michael Jordan would be.
Senna was Formula One racing, its spokesman, its torchbearer. On Saturday, following the crash that took the life of Roland Ratzenberger, it was Senna who was approached about setting up a safety commission on ways to prevent driver injuries. He planned to follow through on it.
He leaves an awful lot behind. In addition to his 41 victories, here is a man who became a minor economic engine in the entire nation of Brazil, making $15 to $20 million on salary alone, the idol of millions of people around the world.
In 1993, only Michael Jordan and Riddick Bowe earned more than Senna's $18.5 million. But money alone cannot measure Senna's impact.
Racing around the world will be rocked right down to its foundations because of the death of Ayrton Senna. I believe people in Brazil are probably crying in the streets because he is such a big national hero there. And his funeral in Brazil will be one of the biggest happenings that they've ever had there.
Ayrton Senna won at least one Grand Prix race every year, with the exception of his first and last. In 1994, he won the pole 3 times. In Brazil, he spun. In Japan, he crashed. Prior to Sunday, his own invincibility seemed well-founded. He had walked away from every accident he had been in.
When somebody like Ayrton Senna passes, you can't forget it. Racing goes on, and Grand Prix racing goes on, and the World Championship goes on. Nobody will ever forget the talents, the personality, the mystique, and just the touch that Ayrton Senna seemed to have and the hold he had on so many people.
Ayrton Senna turned 34 in March. He was divorced with no children. Later in the show, the issue of safety when SportsCenter continues.
When it comes to your financial future, Fortis can help protect you and those you love. Fortis, a worldwide financial services company $46 billion strong. A powerful choice for mutual funds, life and health insurance, employee benefits. A name you can trust around the world and right in your own backyard. Fortis, solid answers for a changing world.
Peerless Faucet didn't come up with the idea for a spout long and high enough to reach over and into large objects. We merely adapted it for the kitchen. High-rise faucet designs by Peerless. Get more out of your faucet than just water.
Toss me the ball.
King Griffey Jr.'s always played hardball. That's why King Griffey Jr. presents Major League Baseball as wall-to-wall action, only on the Super NES Sports Network. It's the one game that plays in King's League.
Let's see you hit.
You'll find thousands of uses for new Liquid Wrench non-flammable super lubricant with Teflon. Why take chances? Look at WD-40 when sprayed at an open flame in this laboratory test. Now the new Liquid Wrench. If flammability is important, Liquid Wrench non-flammable is your only choice, and it saves you money. Liquid Wrench non-flammable stops squeaks, protects and lubricates. Available at Home Depot, Al's Auto, and retailers everywhere.
SportsCenter is brought to you by Corona and Corona Light. Change your latitude with Corona and Corona Light.
Rancho Sanchez Vicario's title was overshadowed by the attack on Monica Seles. This year, Steffi Graf played the event under the cloud of death threats, but still dominated until Sanchez Vicario snaps her 36-match win streak in Sunday's final. The streak started back in November. Baseball tonight is on deck. It's 12 minutes away. Gary Sheffield continues his assault on opposing pitching. The home run lead continues to seesaw. And in the American League, Jack McDowell gets jacked again, including this humbling shot that left the building in Detroit. All that's just ahead. The NBA's Eastern playoffs have provided a series of surprises, except in the one that was expected. After winning 4 of 5 from the New York neighbors in the regular season, the Nets got gnashed in the opener, but the postseason has been just as nasty between these two neighbors. 5 technicals handed out. The first 2 to Patrick Ewing and Benoit Benjamin, and then Ewing and Derek Coleman kept at it. John McEnroe had the kids this weekend, checking out the action from Madison Square Garden. Ewing and Coleman underneath. DC will get the elbow shot from Ewing and then retaliate. Remember, Ewing already has the 1 technical. Now they're going at it again. Ewing backing off, looking for help from the referee. Instead, he gets his second tee and ejected from the game early second quarter. Pat Riley couldn't take it, but he kept on from there and turned it over to Charles Oakley, who went on a spree, scored a dozen and a 14-3 run. Then the dish there, but Herb Williams is denied. But his stick-to-itiveness pays off. As he goes back to the hole, Williams had 11. Knicks go on the roll without Patrick Ewing and beat the Nets for a second straight time, 90-81. Oakley with a season-best 25 points and 24 boards. The Nets made only 21 buckets. That is a new all-time postseason low. The Knicks can wrap it up Tuesday in the Meadowlands. Cavs and Bulls, the D. Horace Grant, the rejection of Terrell Brandon. Kukoc set a career high with 11 assists. That one to B.J. Armstrong. Bulls in command by as many as 11. Then Mark Price, who had a poor game 1, got the ball to roll in the first half. Cavs within 5, but they're still depleted. Nance and Doherty amongst those looking on, so nobody inside to block out Horace Grant. Again, Pippen will miss, but Grant is there untouched. He pokes it home. He had a dozen boards and 18 points. Pippen led the way with 22. The Cavs have lost 10 of their last 12 playoff games at Chicago Stadium. The Bulls can wrap it up when they meet again Tuesday at Rich Field. The Meadowlands, the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs open. Devils and Bruins both coming off exhaustive 7-game series, but the nice pass from Hines to Smolinski, and he beats Martin Brodeur. Just 5 minutes in, it's Boston up 1-0. 2 minutes later, the Deke, David Shaw, gets Danico out of position. He slaps it past Brodeur, who had now given up 2 goals in less than 7 minutes, more than he was averaging giving up in their first-round series against the Sabres. But Bernie Nichols keeps it close. Past Casey, then Casey Stone, the Devils the rest of the way. As Jacques Lemaire's Devils losing their own building, the opener 2-1 Boston. Since 1980, the Bruins are 9-3 when they win the first game of a playoff. They'll try again in New Jersey 2 days from now. Still to come on SportsCenter. The racing story stateside. The speeds were similar to Italy at Talladega. So was the danger, but the crashes did a little more than cost a car and a race. That action coming up.